The town of Gombin, where Grandma Betty was born, was founded around 1100. It's located about 50 miles west of Warsaw, and a sizable Jewish community of her ancestors lived there by the 12th century. They were mostly merchants who fled Germany as a result of the Crusades, but later arrivals came from Spain, when Ferdinand and Isabella banished all the Jews during the Inquisition in 1492. In 1710, the world-famous synagogue of Gombin was built. By the time Grandma Betty was born, it was almost 200 years old and the center of Jewish life. The known ancestry of Grandma Betty begins with a wedding. On a certain day, now lost to history, sometime in the late 1840s, two young people in Gombin were about to begin their new lives together. This couple under the canopy was Abraham and Esther Bornstein, Grandma Betty's grandparents, the ancestors of all the generations that followed through the last 200 years of European and American history. Abraham Bornstein was a wholesaler in corn, wheat, and copper. The family was wealthy until they lost everything in a pogrom in 1882. The Bornsteins lived their entire lives in Gombin. They had 5 children, including Regina Rivka Bornstein, who later married Selmar Steifman. He is better known as Selmar Serini, the Pavarotti of his day. Here's an actual recording of Selmar from 1901. Another daughter, Miriam Bornstein, born around 1860, was Grandma Betty's mother. When Miriam grew up, she married Rabbi Mendel Borashek, and together they had 4 children, Moishe, Brucha Bertha, and Estera Malka. The 4th child was Rivka Borashek, who we know as Grandma Betty. Rivka was born on May 15, 1892 in Gombin. As the daughter of a rabbi, she lived a religious life. The town she knew had about 5,000 people, half of them Jewish. Rivka grew up in a horse-drawn world without electricity, telephones, and most of the modern conveniences we take for granted today. She also experienced poverty, discrimination, and the threat of pogroms during her childhood. Determined to find a life outside the Russian Empire, she would eventually make her way to Glasgow, Scotland in 1911. 18-year-old Rivka, now calling herself Betty, met and fell in love with Grandpa William. They eventually moved to New York City, had 2 children, lived through the Depression, 2 world wars, welcomed grandchildren, followed by great-grandchildren, while becoming the Grandma Betty known and loved by all the generations that followed.